Today, we're going to tackle something that seems so simple, but can actually be pretty tricky: how to talk about yourself. So let's just dive right in.
Ah, yes, those 5 little words. You've heard them before, right? In a job interview, a new class, or just meeting someone new. This question can make even the most confident person's mind just go completely blank. It's a moment so many of us dread.
But don't you worry, we're going to break this down step by step. First, we'll look at why that question is so tough. Then, we'll build a simple blueprint for your answer. After that, we'll gather the essential building blocks, sprinkle in your personality, and finally, help you craft a story that feels totally, authentically you.
Okay, let's start with that dreaded moment. Why is such a simple request so hard to answer? Well, it's because it's not really a question. It's more like an invitation. And because it's so wide open, it can feel, well, completely overwhelming. Does this sound familiar to you? For some of us, our mind just empties out. Poof, nothing. For others, it's the total opposite. A crazy flood of ideas about your job, your hobbies, your family, all bumping into each other. The good news? Both reactions are completely normal.
So, here's the key. We need a little mindset shift. Let's stop treating this question like some scary pop quiz and start seeing it as a simple script that we can prepare ahead of time. Trust me, that little change is a total game changer.
And this is our solution, a personal script. Just think of it like a short, ready-to-go way to talk about yourself. It puts you in the driver's seat, helps you stay calm, and it keeps your introduction really clear and simple, even if you're feeling a bit nervous. And here's the super simple 4-step blueprint we're going to follow. First, a simple greeting. Second, we'll state the basics. Third, we'll add a little touch of personality. And finally, we'll pull it all together and practice. See, it's really that straightforward.
All right, let's get to it and start putting together these essential building blocks. These are just the core facts that are going to be the foundation of your story.
First things first, the greeting. The key here is all about context. You got to read the room, you know? In a casual chat with some new friends, a hi or a hey is absolutely perfect. But in a more formal setting, like an interview, a hello or good morning just sets a much more professional tone.
Next up, your name and where you're from. You want to keep this part really simple. After you say your name, just mentioning where you're from gives the listener some instant context. And hey, if you've moved around, mentioning both where you were born and where you live now can create a nice little mini story right from the get-go.
After that, people usually want to know what you do. You've got a few great options here. You can just state your job title directly, like, I work as a designer. Or you could talk about your industry. I work in tech. And if you're a student, it's just as easy. I'm a student and I study history.
And finally, for the basics, you could share just a little bit about your home life. Now, this isn't about sharing deep, dark secrets. It's just a small, friendly detail that helps paint a fuller picture of who you are. Something like, I live with my partner, or I'm an only child. Just adds a little bit of warmth.
Okay, we've got the basic facts covered. Now let's get to the fun part, adding the details that make your introduction uniquely yours. This is where you really become memorable.
Sharing a hobby is probably one of the easiest ways to connect with someone. When you say something like, I'm really into photography, you're not just stating a fact, you're actually giving the other person a conversational hook, an easy way for them to ask you a follow-up question and keep the conversation flowing.
You can also share a little something about your character. Simple words work perfectly fine. I'm a pretty curious person. You know, a really fantastic technique, if you feel a little awkward talking about yourself, is to use that last phrase. My friends say I'm. It lets you share a positive trait without feeling like you're bragging.
And finally, sharing a simple goal can be really, really powerful. It doesn't need to be some grand 10-year plan. Something as simple as, my goal is to run a marathon next year, shows you've got motivation, and it gives people a sense of your direction in life. It adds this wonderful forward-looking layer to your introduction. So now we have all the pieces of the puzzle, the basic facts, and those little personality details. Let's see how we can combine them to craft a story that's smooth, natural, and super confident.
Here's a perfect, simple example. Notice how it just flows? You've got the greeting, name, where she's from, her job, and a hobby. It's short, it's clear, and it gives the listener everything they need for a great first impression. It's so effective and not at all scary to say. Now let's see how we can build on that simple version. This example adds way more personality, some details about his living situation, what his friends think of him, and even a future goal. See how this creates a much richer picture? It just feels more authentic, more three-dimensional. And now it's your turn. The best way to make this really work for you is to practice. Start by just choosing one simple sentence for each part that we've talked about. Then, and this is the most important step, say your introduction out loud. Just practice it until it stops feeling like a script and starts feeling like, well, like you.
Because that's really what this is all about. It's about taking these building blocks, adding your own unique personality, and crafting a short story that is genuinely you. So go on, take a moment, think it through. What's your story?